So, in today's video, I can't help but wonder and ask the question of whether women, specifically modern day women, within the 20 something, 30 something year old, 40 something year old age bracket, really want successful slash high value men as they claim. Because think about it, on behalf of the Kendra G show, that's a perfect example. Also, the Ashley, aka Ashley L. Dalton show, both of them that are online dating shows for, of course, singles. It never fails. If you pay close attention to most of the female guests on these shows, mostly black women, that is, it never fails. They are always desiring, not in all cases, but I would say around 70, between 70 to 80% of the time, they are always desiring a high value man, a man, to put it another way, who has to make at least, in some cases, 200,000 at the minimum, or more than that, roughly between the 100 to 200,000, no less than that amount. So I can't help but to wonder, on behalf of how these women, so many of these women who come, might as well say, embarrassing themselves and come onto these online dating shows claiming to want these kind of men, women who have been ran through usually the Ray Rays and Pookies, women who usually have had kids outside of a marriage, and multiple kids at that, in some cases multiple kids by multiple dudes. I can't still help but to wonder. And then when I look at it from this perspective, on behalf of that show, Love After Lockdown. Now, am I right or wrong? The majority of those guys on Love After Lockdown aren't successful at all. And on that note, with that being said, think about how you have it where so many female prison or correctional facility officers, usually no matter what race that is, they usually are messing around with the inmates. In fact, I was listening to one show, a snippet of a Kendra G show yesterday, and she was talking to this one particular guy who happened to be incarcerated. He was previously incarcerated, or he's currently incarcerated. Believe it or not, she does have guys who are usually convicted felons while incarcerated who usually may come onto her show, Kendra G. Anyways, this one particular guy, black guy, was talking about how he got multiple female correctional officers pregnant, believe it or not, while incarcerated. And I couldn't help but to wonder, what would a woman want when a guy of that caliber? Hi, y'all, and thanks for joining, Mr. Joseph and Triple Trio. Anyways, what would a woman, I can't help but to wonder, what would a woman want when a guy without nothing to offer to her, who could barely rub two niggas together, could barely read, in most cases barely put a proper sentence together? But then again, I couldn't help but to think about it like this. Women usually desire a guy who's unpredictable. Okay, Triple Trio, I could check out your channel when I get some free time. She wants a guy that respects her. You'll be great. You respect people. You're the best. Thank you. And like I was saying, women, one reason why some women claim to want these highly successful and high value guys, although they usually in some cases settle for a guy who is the complete opposite, a guy who has usually nothing to offer them, guys who they usually have to take care of, guys who love leeching off of them instead of the guys taking the role. It's about how, and thanks, Thres Zakati. If I mispronounce your first name, forgive me. Thanks for joining the live stream. It's about how women claim to want successful slash high value men, but yet and still they keep selling for guys who are the complete opposite. You know, guys who are the bad boys, the types of guys who have usually nothing to offer them worthwhile except for good sex or swag. And these types of women, it just baffles me how these women will come on to these online dating sessions for singles. Once again, shows by lots of the Kendra G show and the Ashley / Ashley L. Dalton show. Man, to be honest, the Kendra G show is way more popular. Anyways, they'll claim to want these high value, high earning men, but yet and still they choose some of the worst guys to have their kids by. Anytime they may have had kids outside of marriage, who do they usually choose? Be honest. Is it not the guys who are the toxic guys? The same types of guys they complain about? This is the same types of guys who they may have restraining orders on, yet and still can't quit seeing these guys on an intimate level? Oh, I'm preaching right now. I'm on fire right now. Anyways, I just would never be able to fully understand these women, because think about once again how, for some of you who may just be joining the live stream, these women, some of these same women who claim to want a high value man, such a very successful man who has make at least 6 figures, may come on to shows by likes of the Kendra G show, whereas they, in some cases, they may have a guy listening in the background, a guy who's leeching off of them, a guy who is very toxic, a guy who has done prison time, a guy who is very abusive towards them, who treats them completely like crap, but they still remain with these guys. And in most cases, not all the time, but some of the time, they may choose to be in long-term relationships with these guys. One reason is due to fear that the guy may threaten to prematurely end their lives. Not only that, another reason why is they have kids by these types of guys. Therefore, they feel like they may share a long-term special bond with these same types of guys. Due to them starting families with these types of guys, the worst types of guys they could pick. And every time I think about it, when shows like what's that show, Love After Lockdown? Correct me if I'm wrong. Whereas women are usually in love with jailbirds, guys who are convicted felons, and usually brag about it to the extent where they had to actually come out with a reality show on behalf of women being so deeply in love with these types of guys. I am not playing. You can look it up if you don't believe me. It's called, I believe, Love After Lockdown. And for some of you high value guys who may happen to still have such a hard time with women, because when I think about it, look at the Pop the Balloon show. There have been quite a bit of guys to come onto that show, the Pop the Balloon show, that will be pretty much any woman's dream that may happen to have the looks, the height, the financial status, the house, the fancy cars, only to still be rejected by the majority of the women on the show. And once again, if you may be a guy who may happen to fit that description, a very highly successful college educated guy who could be able to take a woman out and be able to treat her better than she's ever been treated, who could be able to take a woman on first class flights, take her pretty much all over the world on trips, only to still get denied by the average woman. So you have to think somewhere between the lines, guys, for some of you guys who may happen to fit that description, my highly successful, highly educated brothers who is living a dream, who is very successful, very prosperous. You have to, from time to time, wonder, does it pay sometimes to be a high value man due to how so many women go for the a-holes, the jerks, the hoodlums, the thugs, criminals? I could go on and on, the Ray Rays, the Poogies, because these are the types of guys who have absolutely nothing to offer the average woman. Guys who are not the most ambitious, not the most career oriented, yet and still, like I said earlier, the only advantage they may have is one, them being pretty unpredictable, two, pretty exciting. Like a lot of women claim that one of the main reasons they are attracted to the bad boys, so to speak. Number three, he may could cook if he may be a guy that's done penitentiary time. They don't want men like that, and they love a man like that. No good. Exactly. And thanks, JT White, for joining the live stream. These types of women, I also look at it from this perspective. Some of you few women who may listen to my content may agree with me on this matter, but then again, other ones may not. Am I right or wrong? Some of you may have deep insecurity complexes, whereas you feel like you can't do any better. And one reason why is because of how some of you may happen to have kids from previous relationships, not just more than one kid by the same guy, but most of the time you like to run around and have kids by more than one man nowadays, due to how you look at that as what's popping nowadays. You look at that as a badge of honor, so to speak, not realizing how bad that makes a woman's reputation. And due to also how so many of you women nowadays, so many of you modern day 20-something, 30-something year old, 40-something year old women want to have the same sexual freedom, the same sexual liberation, to be able to have as many guys, have sex with as many guys as you want to without having to be shamed or judged at all. Once again, I'm preaching today. I'm on fire today. I'm on so much fire to the point where I need somebody to pass me a blanket. Anyways, make sure, like I always, to like, share, comment, last but not least, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, you guys have a good one. I'm out.